Hey guys, so 19phobos98 asks if it's legal to use Minecraft as a prototype in my game. And I love this question so much. And he basically explains that he has a YouTube channel where he makes a lot of content of Minecraft and that he plans on switching to game dev. And he wanted to, showcase some of his game prototypes in his as a Minecraft build. And what's interesting about that is, he's a little bit worried about the legal stuff, but I wouldn't worry too much about that because I responded to this post actually, and I said, "Hey, if it makes you feel any better, I actually prototyped my game with LittleBigPlanet too." And I think there's a very valuable lesson with this. It's that if you are making a game or an idea or anything that's quickly prototypable, if you have the familiarity, that is such a huge leverage as a game developer because what that means is you get to use an engine or a tool that only you're familiar with, right? It could be Minecraft, it could be LittleBigPlanet, it could be an alternative engine. And what happens is that if you're super skilled at that engine, you basically can iterate a lot more, which means you end up making your game idea more quickly and you can see like what are its weaknesses, what do you need to fix, what do you need to add, and it's a really good thing. And because if you're also good at this engine, you do it in a less amount of time. So if you have a game idea that you want to prototype and you want to use Minecraft specifically, absolutely go for it. I'm arguing that that's a really good idea to do that because there's a lot of valuable lessons to this, right? So I want to show you my example of how I use LittleBigPlanet 2 to prototype my game and why it's actually a really good thing to do this. Primarily because once you have that game idea, you become very focused on what you need to do. So, a little bit of background. I actually used LittleBigPlanet to make a lot of other games. I actually made this Kirby level called Kirby's Dreamland, and quite literally, it is a recreation of the first level of Kirby's Dreamland from the Game Boy era. So here's a clip of the actual game, and this taught me a lot of interesting lessons as a game designer. This taught me about how sprite art is made, state machines, what how important directional influence is, game over systems. Like there's a lot of technical things you can end up learning by prototyping. And really at the end of the day, you can see, wait a minute, when the original developers, right, Masahiro Sakurai was making Kirby with his team, they were going through these challenges at a very technical rate, right? And this is just me recreating it for fun. But I could see, okay, yeah, there's a lot of systems that they added. And this is important because this taught me more about game design, right? So here's another example, right? In LittleBigPlanet 2, I also made this Mega Man Legends RPG simulator. So I don't have the full gameplay of like the actual action part, but I can highlight the what I like to call the. I might have to skip here for a second. But yeah, I do. I get. I'm messing up here. I'm highlighting here like the menu system, right? So there's a lot of menus, a lot of RPG elements, how to get weapons, how to sell weapons, buy weapons, a save system. We can't hear it right now, but there's actually voice acting, and I had to pay attention to colors. So this project was interesting because it taught me personally more about like what it takes to have overarching systems, and then using that into your action gameplay, right? So this could only be done in LittleBigPlanet, in my opinion, because this is something that I worked on really quickly. So between Kirby and Mega Man Legends, there's a lot of game design lessons that I learned, right? And because of how familiar I am with LittleBigPlanet, I'm able to make these things quickly, learn my lessons quicker, and then realize, okay, let's say I wanted to make my own game. What areas, what elements, what items do I exactly need to pay attention to so that when I transition into an actual game engine, for example, Unity, what do I have to pay attention to, right? So, what I would say is that the learning curve of the game engine is the technical part. It is the part that might take a little bit of time. It's tricky, but because you are able to focus on your prototype, right? Let's say you made this survival game in Minecraft, right? Yeah, Minecraft basically already has all the systems, and that's not a real game to sell because it's already like out there. But you made a survival, which now you have to realize, okay, what does my survival game have? Oh, it probably has enemies. It has HP systems I should be watching for. It should have a gallery of weapons that I need to collect, right? So when you have this list of all the things that you need to add into your game, when you actually go into your game engine, suddenly, wait a minute, I don't need to go into what's called tutorial hell, right? The funny thing about tutorial hell is that you basically say, hey, I want to make a game, I want to learn how to make a game, and it's a good idea to learn a bunch of things, right? If anything, it helps you in the future when you're experimenting with, a plethora of ideas and other game ideas. The problem with tutorial hell is that if you don't have that focused idea, you're going to constantly learn a lot of little things that may not even make it to your final game. So again, let's take Little Big Planet, let's take Minecraft, let's take the examples that I had. When I was working on the Mega Man Legends game and the Kirby game, I realized, okay, the game I want to make is probably going to be a dodging simulator of some sort, right? That means I need to know uh, my animations. I need to know what systems I'm going to use, what type of menus I'm going to end up running, how my game is going to look like. So I would prototype that in Little Big Planet. And then I realized I would make a list of the things that I actually genuinely needed so that when I went onto Unity for my first time, I would only focus on the things that the list provided. That focus saves time. And because I'm already familiar with Little Big Planet, I've iterated so much that I actually realized, wait, this is the exact game I want to make. So if I put on Unity, it shouldn't take that long. Yeah, there's that learning curve. But after that learning curve, you can make your game quickly. So think about Minecraft as your sharpener, right? And then think of the engine as in like the actual the tree that you're going to be hitting, right? So here's a brief example where here's a gameplay clip of uh, DodgeKing, which is the game that I was able to create. But if you look on the left, uh, this was the early prototype. It's, hey, what if we had grids? What if we moved? And then what if we had projectiles attack? But then on the right, we have the actual gameplay, DodgeKing, and it's literally the same thing. Of course, there's a billion differences, and it got polished, and there's a lot of other things, but you get the idea. I needed to start somewhere in order to prove my idea, and then use that going forward. And so this is how it looks like today, right? So on our left, we have the prototype, and on the right, we have the actual final version that is actually currently getting updated right now. So stay tuned for that. But end of the day, it's really effective to stay on the engine, learn as much as the engine, do everything possible, but you really want to avoid tutorial hell. So to avoid that, you have to be focused. And how do you be focused? How can you get focused? You make an idea, you learn the game design behind the idea that you have, and then you leverage your familiarity of your Minecraft skills, of your Little Big Planet skills, of all of these other things to just absolutely define what you genuinely need, and then push that into your actual game when you select the engine that you want. So I just want to say thank you for allowing me to share my experience about how I made a prototype in Little Big Planet 2 and then made it into an actual game. And yeah, this is DodgeKing. And actually, there's going to be a huge update coming out super soon. So I would heavily recommend you guys checking it out on Steam whenever possible. And once again, thank you for your time. And I hope this helped you learn a little bit more about how to transition from prototypes, from weird engines, into actual engines. Thank you.